Fergie, to me, she is more dangerous than anybody.
They say the royal family lives by one golden rule.
I always would like to change so many things in my past, but I can't. I've got to move forward, and it's very difficult to go back over them.
Never complain.
Enough's enough.
Never explain.
Many people in this world are lost. It's excruciating to live with past mistakes. It is so difficult.
What they don't say out loud is the other part, and if someone talks, make sure it's not the wrong person. When the wrong person finally does speak, or even just stops protecting the right one, centuries of perfectly polished silence can collapse in a single breath, and that's exactly what's happening right now.
And as Andy said, listen, if he's going to be kind enough to want to play, then Andrew will play.
Let's play.
And he says, let's play, we'll play. But as long as it's nothing to do with this.
New Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
Is that a deal?
Yeah.
What if the relationship between Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew didn't start with a handshake at Windsor, but something far more private? What if it started on a yacht, ended with silence and scandal, and somewhere in between, there was a pregnancy? This isn't a fan theory, but a story that royal insiders have danced around for over 20 years, and now the one woman who helped bury it may be done keeping it dead.
Harry, being a simple soul, has easily changed to suit Meghan's agenda.
Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, better known as Fergie, was always the wild card of the royal family. Too loud, too bold, too unwilling to fade quietly into palace wallpaper, but she also knew the game. Surviving divorce, public disgrace, and tabloid humiliation, while still managing to keep a seat at the royal table, came with a price, and that price was discretion. One story she never corrected, never joked about, never even blinked at publicly involved a certain prince, a secluded yacht off the coast of Nice, and a then unknown woman whose ambition could cut through diamond. You've heard her name, Meghan Markle, and the rest you're about to hear for the first time.
They first met. The whole thing was a tissue of inaccuracies, to be polite.
This wasn't some casual run-in, but 3 full days aboard a luxury vessel where everyone allegedly knew why they were there. One man with royal blood, one woman with Hollywood hunger, and what followed was a sudden closeness, a reported retreat below deck, and days of private meals and disappearing acts. When they re-emerged, the tone had changed and conversations followed that never fully died even years later. What's more is that it didn't end when they docked, as Meghan allegedly tried to maintain contact multiple times while Andrew responded with radio silence, ghosted like last season's hat at Ascot, until one final attempt, one desperate message, one thing she needed to tell him, was shut down completely.
Sarah Ferguson is as cunning and as deviant and as skanky as Meghan Markle. She just was lucky that when she was doing all her skankiness, the internet was not around.
No answers, no response, no access, and whatever had started ended in total erasure while Meghan was left with a secret she allegedly believed could change everything. The claim is that Meghan believed she was pregnant, and if that's even partially true, then this wasn't just some tabloid flirtation, but potential royal chaos. A child connected to Prince Andrew outside of marriage, outside of institution, outside of control, would have detonated the monarchy's carefully controlled image, and yet the story never surfaced until now. One person always knew how deep this went, Fergie, and according to multiple sources, she's done keeping the past on mute. When Sarah Ferguson stops protecting someone, it's not just about betrayal, but about legacy, hers and Meghan's, and especially Andrew's. You probably think this is where the story ends, but you're wrong. The world met Meghan Markle as the smiling American actress who fell headfirst into fairy tale love, but what the cameras never showed was that Meghan didn't exactly stumble into royalty like a deer in headlights.
She brought Jeffrey Epstein into that idiot formerly known as Prince Andrew into the royal family.
She arrived equipped, connected, positioned, and according to multiple whispers now gaining momentum, she may have arrived with history, specifically history involving Prince Andrew. Fergie didn't need Google to understand who Meghan was when she entered the royal fold because she'd seen it before, up close, on a yacht with Andrew, and the version of events that played out publicly didn't quite line up with what she remembered. When Meghan first told the story of mistaking Prince Andrew for a palace aide, someone holding the Queen's handbag, the press ate it up. Cheeky, charming, a little rebellious, classic Meghan. But to those who knew the inner workings of the monarchy, that story didn't scan. Andrew was never just some forgettable figure lurking in the background, but was known and even infamous in elite circles and tightly controlled environments like royal yachts and aristocratic hideaways. To Fergie, Meghan's so-called confusion sounded less like a joke and more like a strategic rewrite, because distancing language isn't just a PR trick, but a survival tactic in royal circles.
Meghan Markle was known as a hardcore yacht partying person, ready for anything.
It's how people cut ties with inconvenient pasts, erase inconvenient connections, and slip into new narratives like changing outfits between photo ops. According to multiple sourced but protected accounts, Meghan and Andrew were together, physically on that yacht in 2002. The gathering wasn't a massive party and wasn't anonymous, but was intimate, selective, and intentional. And one witness, still unnamed for protection, told a third party that Meghan quickly gravitated toward Andrew. More importantly, he noticed, and in a matter of hours, she was allegedly positioned beside him, shadowing him, and eventually disappeared with him below deck. Meals were reportedly brought to them privately, as they weren't mingling or casually connecting, but isolating, and everyone on board noticed. The witness described a shift that changed everything. When Meghan and Andrew reappeared after their private retreat, the dynamic had transformed from flirtation to exclusivity, and they were no longer part of the group. Rumors followed, quiet ones, stories passed around like secrets, sealed with side eyes, nothing official and nothing public, but very real within the small circle who witnessed it. When that yacht docked, Meghan didn't walk away like it was a summer fling, but followed up according to the account, reached out multiple times with calls and messages, and attempted to re-engage.
Her man serves her no purpose. Does that sound familiar? Fergie saying, oh, you know what? I'm done. Why? Because now she no longer has the use of the title.
The door slammed hard. Andrew didn't just ignore the outreach, but allegedly had his staff block it, per the same sources. Total shutdown, cut contact, ghosted her like a scandal waiting to happen, and that might sound cold, but insiders know that's how royals handle risk. Quiet, fast, without witnesses, and what Meghan reportedly believed at that moment wasn't just that she'd been used and discarded, but that she was pregnant. If that's true, everything changes, and you need to remember this detail because it becomes crucial later. What happened after that alleged yacht rendezvous wasn't just awkward or dismissive, but was clinical. Meghan's attempts to contact Prince Andrew weren't ignored by accident, but were intercepted, according to insider claims, as palace staff instructed directly from higher up reportedly began a containment protocol. Yes, that's what they actually call it in royal PR strategy.
He is like a parasite, always lurking in their shadow. No normal family has a constant third wheel, male or female, leeching onto their every move. Marcus is practically glued to them.
Containment meant no replies, no engagement, and most critically, no documentation. While Meghan's name was allegedly scrubbed from guest manifests. Photos taken on the yacht never saw the light of day, and the people on board were mostly nobodies in royal terms. Social climbers, trust fund kids, and entertainment-adjacent personalities, perfectly disposable with not one person wielding power or a press pipeline. Meghan didn't go quietly. According to the same insider testimony, she made multiple attempts to reach Andrew over the following weeks, not casually and not with, "Hey, remember me?" messages, but something closer to urgent. One source claimed her final voicemail, allegedly flagged and archived by royal aides, simply said, "I need you to call me back. It's important." The next day, her number was blocked across all royal switchboards. Staffers were given instructions to flag any further communication attempts, and just like that, Meghan was erased. Over, or so they thought. Most people never heard this part. According to those same sources, Meghan confided in a friend, an American model who later relocated to Spain, that she believed she was pregnant, not suspected and not maybe, but believed. That's the word she used, reportedly saying she was late, was feeling different, and had been careful, but not that careful. The friend tried to be supportive and encouraged her to go public, but Meghan allegedly refused and told her, "You don't understand what he is, what they are." Then she ghosted the friend too, with total radio silence, and within a month, Meghan was back in LA, attending small industry events, smiling in photos, and projecting total normalcy. To people who'd known her before, though, something had shifted, as the hustle was still there, but the softness was gone, and she was harder, sharper, more focused. The timelines start to ripple from here. When Meghan re-entered the royal world years later, not as a guest or a whisper, but as a fiancé, it wasn't just the palace that did a double take, but people from that yacht did too. The murmurs started quietly with questions like, was it that Meghan? Was it the same woman? But no one said a word. Why? Because now she had protection, and royalty doesn't eat its own until it does. There's a twist that hits like a thunderclap. According to a separate source, Sarah Ferguson had known about this yacht trip all along, hadn't been on the boat but had been close with one of the event organizers and had been looped in on the aftermath. More importantly, she allegedly confronted Andrew about it privately after the whispers reached her, and his response reportedly came in 3 words: "It's handled." Cold, final, unbothered, and she dropped it until now. What's changed is that Sarah Ferguson no longer has anything to lose. Her position in the royal orbit is ceremonial at best, with limited access and fading usefulness, but the thing about people who've survived scandal is they remember everything, they know when to speak, and they really know when to stop staying silent. So ask yourself this: if this story had no truth, why did so many powerful people work so hard to bury it? Once Meghan Markle officially stepped into the royal spotlight, married Prince Harry, and became the Duchess of Sussex, that old yacht story didn't disappear, but just went underground, whispered in private circles, passed along with caveats like, "You didn't hear this from me," and "It's probably nothing," but behind palace walls, people don't shout but suggest, don't accuse but imply. In those implications, Meghan's previous proximity to Prince Andrew became one of the royal family's dirtiest little secrets, a secret they thought was buried so deep it would never see daylight. But Sarah Ferguson kept the coordinates. Fergie had lived through it all: the press takedowns, the toe-sucking photos, the financial scandals, the whispers of being unfit and unroyal. And in her own way, she survived by understanding one thing: silence buys time, but memory holds power. And when Meghan began telling stories that didn't align with what Fergie remembered, especially the infamous valet story, where Meghan claimed she mistook Andrew for a staffer, alarm bells rang. Not because it was rude, but because it was impossible. As Fergie knew, Meghan had seen him before and had been in rooms and on boats where people like Andrew weren't just known, but were the main event. Suddenly, the Duchess, who once played dumb in the tabloids, was watching someone else play dumb on Netflix, and that didn't sit right. According to a source tied to one of Fergie's former aides, Sarah started unofficially cooperating with a royal biographer last year. Not on the record, of course, but she offered clarifications, shared timeline corrections, and gently nudged certain stories back toward the truth. And among those clarifications was the yacht story. Not a direct confirmation, but a breadcrumb. Enough to restart the fire and signal to the press that there was something more. And why now? Because the institution has changed with King Charles now on the throne, Meghan and Harry out of the royal fold, and Fergie's position practically ceremonial. She's already lost the privileges, and now she's protecting the receipts. There's a theory that the recent uptick in negative press against Meghan, everything from her Spotify fallout to the relaunch of her lifestyle brand, wasn't just organic backlash, but palace-approved pressure. A subtle message: stay quiet, because once the institution no longer sees you as useful, they don't offer you silence, but give you rope. Enough rope to either save yourself or hang the whole narrative, and Meghan isn't stupid. She knows when narratives shift and knows when whispers are no longer whispers but warnings, which is why, according to recent intel, her team has gone radio silent on anything related to Andrew. No comments, no corrections, no lawsuits, and when Meghan doesn't clap back, that's not peace but fear. Ask yourself, who really holds the power here? The Duchess who tried to rewrite history, or the woman who never stopped remembering it? The storm has already passed through the yacht, the palace, and the press, but the fallout is just getting started. When secrets this volatile start slipping into daylight, they don't just ruin reputations, but rewrite entire histories. And for the royal family, history is everything. Not just lineage and titles, but power, control, survival, and the idea that a buried connection between Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew could be surfacing through Sarah Ferguson, of all people, isn't just messy, but dangerous. The royal institution has sacrificed bigger names for smaller scandals. Princess Diana was beloved, yet still isolated. Prince Harry was born into it, yet still pushed out. So what makes Meghan immune? Nothing, especially now that she no longer serves the crown, no longer pulls public sympathy like she used to, and most importantly, has become a liability with a memory. That's exactly why Fergie's sudden indirect cooperation with biographers matters, as she's not trying to go viral but protecting herself. Once Andrew's name starts coming back into the headlines, especially tied to anything remotely controversial, the palace needs a buffer. Someone to absorb the hit before the blast radius reaches the throne, and Meghan is the perfect decoy. The royal family won't confirm this story and won't deny it either, because that's how palace PR works. If you see a tabloid headline run wild and they don't shut it down within hours, they want it out there. Maybe not confirmed and maybe not explicit, but useful. Right now, Meghan's past usefulness has expired as her Netflix deals, podcast streams, and brand partnerships are being chipped away in real time. Every headline about her rebranding is accompanied by 1,000 more speculating about her credibility, and now this story, Yacht, pregnancy, erasure, is slipping into the bloodstream of royal gossip with surgical precision. Even if it's never officially acknowledged, it still casts a shadow, and in the world of royals, shadows are more powerful than facts. Prince Andrew remains untouched and unreachable as usual. No statements, no apologies, just silence. The one thing he's mastered, while Fergie once again proves she's not done playing the game. She may not be at the center of power, but she knows how to throw a grenade from the sidelines, and Meghan is left in the same place she was when this all allegedly began, on the outside looking in. Only now the fairy tale is cracked, the palace doors are locked, and the past she thought was buried is knocking. The scariest part might be that this is just the beginning. If one story like this can leak without photos, without paperwork, with nothing but memory and motive, how many more are waiting in silence? How many more secrets depend on people like Fergie keeping their lips sealed? And what happens when they stop? The monarchy survives by what it keeps hidden, but eventually hidden things demand light, and when the women they underestimated stop playing nice, the whole crown starts to tremble.